Call the meeting to order. Please rise. Then I ask you to join me in a moment of reflection on business that's before us this evening. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Alderman Violet.
Here.
Alderman Begley. Alderman Basso. Alderman Lewandowski.
Here.
Alderman Key.
Here.
Alderman McGrogan.
Here.
Alderman McGovern.
Here.
Alderman Clifford.
Here.
Quorum. No special presentations tonight. Under consent calendar, I've got the approval of the City Council meeting minutes from December 19th, 2023, along with the approval of the payroll and the voucher list for the period ending January 12th, 2024. Someone made a motion to approve that?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Violet, seconded by Alderman McGovern. Discussion? Roll call?
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
All right, first thing, we've got some bids to be open for proposed.
I wanted to say something first,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor. I want everybody to be aware this is the project that ultimately is going to cost over $2 million. I think we should go into this, the opening of the bids, with that in mind. This is phase one of a $2 million plus project. By the time that November's committee meeting rolled around, the Building and Grounds Committee, there were 2 committee members at that time who wanted this bid process to go forward. I just wanted everybody to know that.
Okay.
Okay, the first bid comes from Ephraim Carlson and Sons.
Mr. Mayor, point of order. I have a question. Is this bid for the entire project, or is this done for phases? I mean, what's this? Because I don't think I'm just, for me, I haven't seen any type of, like, plans or anything, or what's
available.
covered. So I'm just curious, who's got the info?
So this bid is for phase one. This project is broken down to 3 phases. Phase one is the most critical part of the City Hall remodel. The other phases will follow, and we can elect to do them, not do them, or postpone them to a future date. But this is phase one, and the phase one involves the remodel of the bathrooms to make them all ADA compliant, and bring the building department out to the front over here, so it is one point of entry for all the City Hall visitors, and also people doing business with City Hall would be one entrance, and pretty much move them over on this side. Phase two would to create a new administrative section. Phase three could be, is planned to be the conference room, and it's pretty much a larger conference room at that point in time. Again, the phase 3 one may not be a go, depending of the budget and the outcome of the other phases.
And phase 2 could fall in that same category.
Phase 2 can fall. It's broken down.
Well, all 3 phases could fall in that category.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's broken down to whichever way the City Council
Okay.
would like to.
Since the 2 gentlemen have already brought up things that are out of order, what we'll do is this later on in Alderman Begley's report, we're going to move to, actually after the bids, we'll move them to the Buildings and Grounds, and then part of her committee meeting, she's going to have an open forum for all the aldermen, as far as like a committee of the whole, to discuss the whole project going forward. So that's the intention. So.
And Mr. Mayor, maybe it'd be helpful for the other aldermen if they were sent the RFP for the scope of the work that the bids are presented today for.
Sure.
Thanks.
No problem. Okay.
Okay, again, this is Ephraim Carlson and Sons. The total bid amount is $997,000 with a 10% bond amount.
Jesus Christ.
This is Eagle Contracting LLC. The total bid amount is $984,217 with a bond amount of 10% of the total amount bid. This is Summit Design and Build. The total bid amount is $1,016,000 with a 10% of bid amount bond. This is Paul Borg Construction Company. Total bid amount is $988,000 with a bond amount of 10% of the total amount bid. This one is Robe Construction Inc. with a bid amount of $1,179,330 with a looking for the bid amount. 10% of the amount bid for the bond. Sorry about it. This is KWCC Inc. Construction. Total bid amount is $1,074,898. With a bond amount of 10%, the total amount bid. This is Construction Solutions of Illinois, Inc. With a total amount of $913,723, which includes a $10,000 allowance for existing installation replacement at plumbing pipe, heating pipe, and ductwork for note number 10 on M2.10 and note number 15 on M4.10. And the bond amount is 10% of the amount bid.
Could you read that, what that 10%, what was it for again?
It says base bid includes a $10,000 allowance for existing installation replacement at plumbing pipe, heating pipe, and ductwork for note number 10 on M2.10 and note number 15 on M4.10.
Replacement of?
Replacement of plumbing pipe, heating pipe, and ductwork.
Does that mean the existing ductwork here and piping, whatever they take
Well,
up?
we're gonna review that note.
I'm a little confused on that wouldn't be included in the total bid to under demolition.
But once we get the bids back, we're gonna review all of it.
This one's Pacific Construction. Total bid amount, $999,689, with a bond amount of 10% of amount bid. And the last one's from Kraus Construction. The base bid is $1,015,983 with a bond amount of 10% of the amount bid.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move those bids to the Buildings and Grounds Committee.
Moved by Alderman Lewandowski. Is there a second? Second. Second by Alderman Key. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call.
Okay. Alderman Violet,
No.
Alderman Lewandowski,
Aye.
Alderman Key,
Yes.
Alderman McGrogan,
No.
Alderman McGovern,
Yes.
Alderman Clifford,
No.
Okay, yes.
Mayor Strauss, yes.
Mr. Mayor, the next Buildings and Grounds Committee is going to be January 23rd at 7 p.m. Following that meeting, there will be a 7:30 special meeting regarding the possible City Hall renovation project with a presentation of the proposed phases of the project.
Very good.
Was that an even vote?
Oh, yes. 3-3.
3-3.
3-3? And you broke it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's out of the way.
All right. That's it. Okay. Just general remarks under myself. First of all, I'd like to thank Public Works and the Police Department for all the hard work they've done over the last week and a half. With this cold weather, it's been an unending struggle for them. I mean, and they don't have days off and time off. I mean, when a pipe burst or a water main burst, they have to take care of it. If the police calls come out, they've got to take care of those, and they stepped up, to do everything we needed and have done for the best interest of our citizens over the last week and a half, as they always do. So I just want to, hats off to them over for what they've done. What else I got here? Looking for a motion to adopt a resolution acknowledging the Southland Convention and Visitors Bureau for our Convention and Visitor Bureau record. Moved by Alderman Key. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Clifford. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, I'm going to be asking for an ordinance to be passed for regarding the charter buses and the unscheduled stops that have been frequent not frequent, have happened in the metropolitan area of Chicago over the last couple, about a month or so. And just a little bit of background, I've gone to numerous meetings over the last month or so with area mayors. We've had a committee of the whole to talk about this. And as I see this is a two-phase situation. We've got one phase is a procedure that we have to have with or without an ordinance to handle a situation where we may have some unscheduled bus stop people bringing migrants up from the state of Texas here. Historically, they've dropped them off at transit stations. The other half is to have an ordinance, some kind of operating rules for this kind of unique situation we have here, and that we have limited number of trains that come up here, for one thing, and actually go to downtown Chicago. And we don't have a ticket agent in our station to accommodate anybody who may get dropped off, And this is not meant, this ordinance that we're looking to pass, or I'm looking to pass, or all of us, I think, is not to encourage or discourage, the recent drop-off of migrants. This is just for us to be able to deal with it, and that's what we're looking to do. So, we have a procedure in place. The chief has talked to a local bus company. If we ever had to actually physically bus individuals downtown, we wouldn't foresee that. Maybe you have to bus them to an adjacent train station that has a ticket agent so they could get downtown. We've talked, again, the chief has talked to the county and the city of Chicago as far as when we can drop people off if we had to, when they can be dropped off, how to do that, what the procedures need to be in place, and we will be able to be in compliance with this. I think it's very important that everyone realizes, this is a political thing. I mean, these are not individuals that are being brought up here by a bus that's hired by somebody. These are being individuals that are being brought up here by a bus that's being hired by the state of Texas. For example, when the state of Texas flew the individuals up to Rockford, the state of Texas actually chartered the buses to take them from Rockford to downtown Chicago. So this is not somebody, actually individual bringing people up here, or somebody putting their money together and coming up here. This is an organized situation that is being done to get the individuals from Texas into the metropolitan areas, who in theory are sanctuary cities. So our aim is to get, if this ever does happen, and it's been not that frequent. I mean, we've had, my understanding is probably less than a dozen towns that have had this happen, is to get the individuals to the boarding stations downtown, which are on Des Plaines and where's it, Polk and Des Plaines, where they can be processed and go from there. So our aim is to get them downtown. So our ordinance gives us the ability to register and have operating rules for the buses, when they can come, and give us an orderly situation if this does arise, that we do have, a policy and also a procedure, but also do have an ordinance in place. I've also contacted Sean Morrison, who's our state Cook County Commissioner, our Cook County Commissioner, to see if this can be done at the county level, and haven't heard back yet on that. I've heard some communicate, but nothing's been done on that yet, and I don't think the county's actually met yet. So this is an ongoing situation, but I think this is a step that we need to take just to have something in place. And as we all met on the committee of the whole, what I'm looking for is a motion to approve this. To move. Moved by Alderman Key. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Clifford.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
As you stated, there have been many unscheduled and unannounced one-way traffic impacting the city of Chicago and the surrounding municipalities, which are resulting in dangerous and inhumane conditions for these migrants, causing potential public safety concerns and nuisance concerns. It is my understanding that, as you stated, the city already has a procedure in place to deal with this in the event that a bus is dropped off with these migrants. We're now being asked today to consider and adopt an ordinance that creates an application process to accept chartered buses that meet certain criteria. By state non-home rule, non-home rule communities such as Palos Heights are limited in the type of ordinances that can be passed. So I'd like to hear from our city council if he could further address our legal authority to regulate these buses in this manner.
Technically, as it stands right now, as a non-home rule municipality, technically don't have the right to do it. It's not specifically in the statute that says you have the right to do this. There is a section in the ordinance, in the state statutes, that allow you to regulate taxi cab, buses, those kinds of things, and other municipalities have used that particular section, as well as your police power, to say that we have the authority to regulate bus traffic that comes into our city. And that's the basis of the ordinance that many of the non-home municipalities have passed it on. It has not been determined in court whether it's valid or not. The city of Chicago is in court now, I think in federal court cases with their ordinance, and they're a home rule municipality. The state legislature, as I indicated, as I've heard today, they are trying to take steps to allow municipalities to be able to regulate these things. But as of right now, there's no specific state statute that says you can do it, but it's inferred from one of the sections of the code that you have the ability to regulate those buses.
And this, excuse me, this ordinance as drafted is very similar to the ordinances passed by our sister municipalities. But does it open us up to any liability?
Well, we took out some other municipalities have taken a portion of the ordinances and put in there that you have the ability to confiscate the buses. We have taken that out. We think that that's totally inappropriate that you can do that. This is just basically allowing for the scheduling of the buses and to let us know when they're coming and things. So it's kind of a peremptory thing to say, hey, if you're going to come here, let us know you're coming so we can make arrangements. So it's not prohibiting anybody from coming. It's not talking about confiscating anybody's buses, things like that. Just, it's kind of a regulatory process or procedure.
Sure, but if it's undetermined whether or not we have the legal authority, does that open us up to any legal liability because we're passing this ordinance today?
Well, I mean, you're only going to get in, well, I can't say for sure because I don't know what the court system is going to say about that. We have the police power and the one section of the state statute that allows the regulation of buses. What the courts will do, I don't know. As a non-home rule municipality, I think it's good to take a step, at least to let the people in Texas know that if you're going to send somebody to our area, let us know, which I don't think is inappropriate. We're not penalizing anybody by doing that. So it's just let us know, and if you do come, we'll take care of it. But we're not going to, confiscate your buses or anything like that.
So we're not at risk of passing an illegal
Well, I mean,
ordinance?
you're always at risk of getting sued by somebody.
I have a question. Okay. First off, and both of you, we have a city ordinance among us that gives a police officer the authority, and this ordinance is backed by state law. It gives a police officer the authority to not allow the bus, train, airplane, whatever it is, to open the door and send it on continuously without stopping it anywhere here in the city of Palos Heights. I'm talking about, as far as the city ordinance goes, it's it's 70.005, and it is backed up by the state law of, let me get my glasses for a second here. 625 ILCS 511-203, obedience to police officers. Now, I suggest, first off, that we use this ordinance, and my reason for it is very technical. If the governor of the state of Texas puts people on a bus and sends them outside of the state of Texas without notifying any incoming state that that bus is coming, he is in violation of the law himself, which means every person on that bus is in violation of the law. And the other part of it is, what's the difference between, the difference is if you send out migrant workers, that means that they have places to go to work. If you send out migrants, they don't. And we're not supposed to be allowed to accept them unless they have somebody there to pick them up, someone else there for their job, and they must have a job also. Now, that's my opinion on this, and that's where I feel our ordinance is going to be very strong, because the governor of Texas will be the one to make the initial illegal act. Everything after that is moot.
Actually, it's the President of the United States. But
Well, President Askey has the authority to export people out of state. The governor of Texas has no authority to take anybody out of
But the
state.
President of the United States has no authority to let illegal immigrants into the city.
Well, that's
in the
true,
nation.
that's true.
So it starts there.
All right, well, we'll start there. And my only other opinion on this is, I don't want to spend the whole evening reading this. So, like I said, if the governor of Texas or president, whoever it is, makes the first mistake, what we do is actually legal as all heck, because we can, he's the one, they're the ones that are gonna be in more trouble than we are. And our ordinance is solid and firm. And like I said, if you put a police officer out there and you turn around and put it, just tell them that you can't open a bus and you gotta take them down to Dearborn and Pope. Because the state of Illinois is a sanctuary state. Cook County is a sanctuary county. And the city of Chicago is a sanctuary city. And that's it for the entire state of Illinois. So any and all places where they deliver these things, they can't drop them off.
Mr. Mayor? Point on this, it sounds to me like maybe what we could still do is pass the ordinance, maybe with some additional changes, and to Jerry's point, procedurally, you know, in other words, we could have the ordinance in place, and then on a procedure, where what he's suggesting is that when the bus does get here, we just say simply, we don't feel that you're complying with the laws that Alderman McGovern just cited, and that therefore we're not allowing you to get off the bus, and the bus is redirected to like the next train stop. And by the way, which I brought up at the committee of the whole, ironically, effective January 31st, there will be no longer any bus train ticket sales at any station, including downtown. It's all going to be done by computers. And so, like, as I pointed out previously, if you ride the train from any of these train stops out here, especially on busy days when it's cold or there's snow, the trains are jammed. They can't even get to you because you have to buy the tickets. They haven't sold tickets in the Palos Heights station in years. I mean, I haven't.
They never have.
Yeah, and so, so in effect, the part of us buying tickets for them is not even germane to the topic, because it's not going to apply, because there's nobody for us, nobody there at the station to sell them the tickets. Number one, they could deal with that with the conductors on the train, you know. And for all of us, just even residents, if you were planning on buying tickets at the downtown station, it was on the Palos patch. They cited all the wording and all the changes and the new fees and everything. So you, like, really everybody's going to have to buy tickets online.
Okay.
But along those lines, on that ordinance, if we get to a vote on it, I'd like to amend part of it, just to give the city the ability to, because some of the things you've heard from other cities, and even the chief brought this up at the committee of the whole meeting, you might have a situation where we have to buy some food or a medical expense. So I think that we could maybe amend a portion of the ordinance to include that the city could, administration could spend $500 or $1,000 in a calendar year towards any type of an emergency that might come up in the event people do get off the bus.
Well-
And I would like to amend the motion, I would like to make that in the form of a
If I
motion.
may, I don't know, I think that's actually could be a procedure, it doesn't have to be in the ordinance, so.
Well, no, I think it could be, I think it should be,
I think
because
it
that
would.
way it gives us some flexibility.
Well, it doesn't give us any flexibility.
Well, no, it does. It gives
No, it
us.
doesn't. If you put a
it-
number
it
dollar
gives
amount, you
the rest of the people in
Okay,
this
whatever.
room the flexibility to,
to
because
do what?
what if it's a big number, Mayor? What if it's like all of a sudden it's $10,000? We have, when we're voting on things here for a lot less money, it comes across all these people here that are voters, and I think we fall in the same category. So if we put in, which I mean, you can say what you want, but I'm going to make a motion
Okay.
to amend the ordinance so that it basically gives it some structure. We already took the structure out about the buses and about confiscating, which other towns have put in, which, to Alderman Lewandowski's point, I thought was a good idea to keep it in there, because if there is a lawsuit, it would be a class action lawsuit against Hinsdale and Elmhurst and these other cities, and we would fall into the same category, so we wouldn't be fighting the lawsuit by ourselves. We would be fighting it with a group of other cities. And I think by us taking that out, it also does expose us to an individual situation, because our ordinance is going to be separate from other communities. I'd rather have us have some other towns that may have to share the legal expense.
Point of order, is there a motion and a second on the floor? So
Yes.
Yes.
Alderman Key, I think, motioned, and I forgot who seconded, so I don't know if there's an amendment to it, it would have to come from
Mr.
Alderman
Mayor?
Key.
Yes, ma'am.
Just also on what Alderman McGrogan just said, if we pass this and someone, we get a letter from, the state saying, you're non-home rule, you shouldn't have this, we're gonna sue you, we could just drop it, right?
Sure.
So there's not really, there's no downside that way. It's, we could just drop it then. There's nothing compelling us just because we pass this tonight. The thing that I'm concerned with, there is as we talked about at the committee of the whole meeting, there's a humanitarian side to this. And so if we were to say, oh, we're gonna put in this ordinance $2,000, what happens when it's $2,500? Because
Well, they can spend
they got dropped off at 11 o'clock at night and there is no train. And I mean, that's where the procedure actually is more important than the ordinance. And so I don't think we should put an amount in there.
The procedure part's just gonna tell you what you're gonna do after the fact, if the fact happens at all. So
But what
I agree with everything said, but I think the procedure in this case
Yeah.
is more important than actually the ordinance itself.
Right.
Because that takes in the humanitarian aspect, what you're gonna do, and it also can include an amount in there of what you're willing or not willing to spend, or more or less cap it. My second question is, Texas was mentioned quite a bit. Would it be wise, do we just strictly mention buses coming from Texas?
No.
Or do we include any buses that come from,
You would have to include Florida, you would
Any
have to
bus.
include Arizona.
any bus? Pardon?
Any bus.
Any bus, okay. I just wanted to make sure if we said
We did
buses
not-
coming from Texas.
And we didn't single out Texas.
All right, that's what I want to know.
Mr. Mayor, just Alderman Key, whatever the dollar amount is, I'm just trying to put some structure, because as the chief pointed out at the committee of the whole meeting, and it's come up on TV, where in some situations, there's big medical, there's people who have diseases, they have heart conditions, they have other things that they're coming across with, which can be quite substantial. Someone's gonna have to pay that.
So then the
ironically,
question becomes from a legal.
It'd be treated
If
to
someone,
a hospital.
I mean,
Mr. Brown,
It wouldn't be, wouldn't be the
if someone got off of a bus and they said they have COVID, they need to be taken to a hospital. I mean, so
That
we
expense-
deliver them to the
That
hospital.
expense would be the hospitals.
Then is
It
it,
wouldn't be the city's expense.
exactly.
but who would pay for them to get them there?
Who would pay? Well, I imagine you call an ambulance service that you would normally would.
So that would
It'd
come
be
from.
the fire protection district.
Right, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is it, Jeff, your example of 2,000 and 2,500 is fine, but what if it's 25,000? I mean, what if it's 50,000? I mean, we just looked at some,
But-
expenses here, I'm just doing this because I'm part of this, all of our group.
Of course.
We're all part of the city, and we all represent taxpayers. Some people are getting calls, others might not be. And I'm just trying to say, we don't wanna have like an unlimited amount. And so at some point, you come back to common sense. I mean, what if they all say they need Eddie Bauer jackets? I just saw some pictures of people, and I'm not making this up, on TV, and they were freezing cold, and someone had to take care of them. I have another idea. The other idea is we could ask residents, if this meeting and when we get to another point, to say we could set up a fund for humanitarian reasons, to say if you're interested in contributing, in the case of this situation, or even residents who might lose their job or have no heat, that we could have like a fund that people from the city could contribute to, and we could also dip into it in case we need to do the same thing to buy people food, jackets, or pay for medical.
But rather than going through and setting up, this thing, why don't we look at it this way? If you want to pass the ordinance as it is. If you want to make a separate resolution that the most we spend would be
X.
X, and direct whoever employee, the party to be, the employee, the city employee,
Yeah,
that's all you
city
can spend.
I said city
Do that, and
administration.
keep it outside of the ordinance, makes it a little cleaner for one.
Smarter, Mike.
Okay,
And it's
well,
also
all right,
easier,
all
it's
right,
also
I agree.
easier to change,
I agree.
Okay.
So send that portion of it to a committee?
No, but we could actually, when new business is someone who wants to make a
Okay.
motion,
I'll just call a question.
Okay. Roll call.
Alderman Violet?
Yes.
Alderman Lewandowski?
I believe we have a very sound procedure in place. I'm not convinced that we have the legal authority to pass this ordinance after I heard the answers from our city attorney. So because I don't feel we have the legal authority, I'm going to vote no.
Alderman Key?
Yes.
Alderman McGrogan?
Yes.
Alderman McGovern?
Yes.
Alderman Clifford?
Aye.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. And then under new
All right.
business, break it up, okay? All right, city treasurer?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No report tonight.
All right, city attorney?
No report.
Communications, anyone? All right, citizens wishing to address the council, anyone? Don't see anybody out in the audience, okay. Finance, Alderman McGrogan.
So, Mr. Mayor, there's no formal finance items on the agenda because we didn't have a meeting last week, and but we will have one next month. I do want to mention that some statistical data that I pulled, because residents will be getting their water bills if they haven't received them, and their scavenger bills. And so I think it's part of the comments that many of us make concerning the funds that the city has. I'm going to point out a few things, which I think is one of the reasons that we should take a hard look when we're looking at possibly this year, when we have in that budget upwards of almost $5 million in expenditures for new projects. And I think we should take a hard look, and I hope we at Finance, we're gonna do that every month, because according to Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I actually have a picture of it, I was actually at working out when I saw it, and I said, wow, this is amazing. In the last 3 years, inflation for residents like ours in Palos Heights is up 17.6%. Food is up 33.7%. Shelter is up 18.7%. Energy is mostly gas, up 33%. Electric, 27.1%, on and on and on. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, you can look it up. They have lots and lots of stats. On top of that, when you look at this from a resident standpoint, and especially people that might be on pensions, budgets, and don't have a lot of disposable income, it's very difficult. And with water and the scavenger bills going up, our areas, especially the southwest suburbs, got hit pretty hard with taxes, and the real estate tax as high as, in some areas, up to 45%. The state, of course, has to get their fair share, license fees, school fees, et cetera, everything is up. I really do think that all of us as elected officials need to take a hard look when we keep spending money. This is the time where I think we should say maybe there's a better time where we could extend it out. In addition, like one of the things, and I'm on Sewer and Water and Alderman Bylett's committee, I mean, we have a report. We're looking at a $15 million expense to fix the city's underground improvements that we hired a consultant for. So if you take that $15 million and the $5 million that's in the budget, And the 15 million doesn't have to go out over this year, it's gotta go over about the next 5 to 10 years. But at some point, we don't wanna go back to where we were in 2001, where we didn't have any money. And I think that we really need to, like, take a hard look at this expense stuff. I mean, it's taxpayer money, but, you know, our residents, I think, need a break. And it's the end of my report.
Okay, public safety, Alderman Basso's not here. Alderman, can I give that?
He called me tonight, he just had a couple of comments. One, with the weather and everything, just be aware and be safe and use proper precautions. And the other thing was about scams. The new one out there is scam by text. So if you might notice some things on your texts that come up. I'll give you an example of one that I got. I'm having knee replacement surgery pretty soon at Rush Hospital. And within 2 days, I got a thing to Rush Hospital Orthopedics. And they spelled at the top of the listing, orthopedic one with PEA. So that was the tip-off. Wait a minute. They're spelling their own name wrong there. But they said, we have your chart here to okay your chart. Opened the link, the HTML link, which I didn't do, and I forwarded it down to Rush's HR department, saying, you know, what's going on. But things like that are going around now. Another one I got, these are personal things that I've gotten. You have a package that's waiting to be delivered from UPSS or whoever, and it'll say, please reconfirm your name is John C. Clifford, yes or no. Or by saying yes. So once you do that, you've opened up, you know, yourself to whatever they're up to. But just be aware of what you're doing. Read it twice, look at the spelling, look at the link at the top, hit on, see where it came from. And it won't be saying the same thing that what's saying on the thing there. So just be aware of that and save yourself a lot of acne. So that's Alderman Basso's tip of the month, I guess.
Okay, good. Municipal grounds and property, you're gonna give Alderman, you took care of that already.
Yep.
Planning and zoning, Alderman McGovern.
No report, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Key, recreation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve payment to Williams Architect in the amount of $23,126.32 for schematic design and development, reimbursement and unit billing items for Phase 1 of pool project.
Moved by Alderman Key, is there a second? Second by Alderman Violet, discussion. Roll call.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
And that concludes my report, Mr.
All
Mayor.
right. Alderman Clifford, for roads and construction.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion to approve reimbursement to the state of Illinois for the 76th Avenue FAU construction costs in the amount of $48,397.24.
Moved by Alderman Clifford, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Lewandowski, discussion. Roll call.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
And secondly, a motion to approve payments to Morris Engineering service various projects throughout the city in the amount of $7,948.50.
Moved by Alderman Clifford, is there a
Second.
second by Alderman Lewandowski, discussion. Roll call.
Alderman McGrogan.
Yes.
Alderman McGovern.
Yes.
Alderman Clifford.
Aye.
Alderman Violet.
Yes.
Alderman Lewandowski.
Aye.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
And on the end of the note, I'd like to say, give my kudos or thanks or whatever to the Public Works Department, the individuals that spent a lot of evenings out there these past few days, 3 in the morning, away from their family, working some have worked all night, keep those streets as safe as possible. If you go out there and drive down them, I'd say they're in excellent shape, and nobody can dispute that. Just reflects on their work ethic over there and their leadership. I also like to thank, and that we're fortunate to have our Public Works Director, that he was a gem in the rough when we found him, and he does a great job there by organizing these things, spends a lot of hours. So I'd just like to say thanks to the whole department for giving us those hours to make the streets safe and everything.
You're here.
Okay, thank you.
Especially this last week.
Whether he likes it or not, he's going to get.
Hiding in the back there.
That's the end of my report.
License permits and franchise, Alderman Newdowski.
Gem in the rough. No report,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Violet?
I have no report.
All right, great. Business and Economic Development, Alderman Key.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, no report.
Alderman McGovern, Cable TV?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I got a little bit to say tonight. Kind of like the end of the year report for Channel 4. Our team has created about 385 shows in 2023. The expensive cross-section of the coverage accomplished by 3,000 volunteer hours during 2023. Each program was originated, produced, edited, broadcast on Comstat, AT&T, and the Internet. The Internet viewing has expanded at growth with a total of 23,800 views in 2023. Channel 4 continues to keep the main focus of a temporary local government support economic development awareness programs. This includes coverage of our local colleges, our secondary and elementary school activities, outreach agencies, and various senior programs in our local hospital healthcare programs. In addition, Channel 4 team assists Shepherd High School with their TV production class and the instructor with the use of our radio for training on the specific TV class assignments. This program may help students consider a TV profession and an internship or an internship with Channel 4. Now, I've said it time and time again. Over the last few years, well, first we completely moved Channel 4. We were allowed, the council allowed us to move Channel 4 over to a much better organized building, and it has helped so much. It is now the best TV station in the state, government TV station in the state of Illinois. And that's been, not that I've been bragging about it, because I will, but anyway, that's from AT&T and Comcast. They both recognize how well this program is put together. Some of our YouTube programs go international. Actually going international. That's how well this is developed. And Ron and Carl took this place from a local TV station. We expanded it out to Worth. We expanded it out to Palos Park. We expanded it out to Moraine College. And a few, all the way down to Hickory Hills, for Pete's sake. And they have done such a wonderful and outstanding job building this program into something that nobody else can do. Fortunate that Carl and Ron both had experience in what they did before, and I'm hoping that next year I'll be telling you this is the best government program in the country. That's it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Not that I'm bragging, but I'm bragging.
All right, under old business, Alderman Grogan, you wanna,
All right.
just put like a motion to
Yeah.
the maximum out-of-pocket
Yeah,
expense?
well, I got an idea. It just might work. If not, we'll kill it. Go in another direction. All right, so this would be a motion. The city of Palos Heights will establish a charitable fund from resident donations to cover the cost of incidental expenses that may be used for illegal immigrants that may be dropped off within the city limits. The Palos Heights will match the funds on an annual basis.
I think it'd be a little cleaner if we just set a dollar amount, to be honest with you. I understand what you're trying to do, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's gonna be
but
kinda hard to.
when I first came up with the dollar amount, I didn't know what dollar amount to put in
I'm
if I was
thinking
gonna
like
reread it.
20, 25, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, 1,000 was just something I reached out of the stars at. If Alderman Key's 25, I go along with 2,500. So, okay.
I just say you did.
No, I don't.
I mean,
I don't have
I'm
an
just,
opinion on an amount.
it's like throwing a dart. So, all right,
First of
I'll
all,
make a motion.
Chances of this, happening
I know.
is slim and none.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
what's.
0.5% of one.
I'll just say, all right, I'll be more, I thought there was another way to do it.
Why don't we just
All right.
stay with the $1,000? That's,
Or I'll go to 2,500. I mean, right, or
Yeah.
Do I hear,
Would make it-
do I hear three?
Just do a
Going
resolution.
once, going twice,
Fair
and
enough.
that's the number?
Hang it, yeah,
It's,
I mean,
we,
We're debating
there's
something-
no,
You can't buy
we don't have an
drinks.
experiential
2,500.
Here,
thing
this-
to go on. What happens if a bus
Clothing.
comes
I
and
just-
no one has a coat on?
Jeff, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, the buses could have up to 50 people, I say.
Correct.
Mr.
You know-
Mayor, I think it makes sense to leave that at the discretion of our chief of police, that he be able to handle the crisis with, you know, he's proved nothing but prudent in the use of taxpayer money. So,
'Cause he's
depending
gonna-
on the volume, the scale of the crisis, I'd like to leave it to the chief to use his
Yeah.
best judgment.
I agree, he's gonna be directly handling each of those people over there. He would know best what he needs to do to,
yeah, I mean, I have confidence in the chief.
Yeah, I do too.
So,
I mean, here, I have a question, Chief. This, and I talked to Alderman McGovern, who used to be a police executive too. I was wondering, do we have latitude out of the drug forfeiture money? Could some of that be used to just, because then we might have unlimited funds? Could
No.
that be used, because last, at the committee of the whole, you mentioned that, you know, you have some kind of, fiduciary responsibility or ethical responsibilities on the Homeland Security to take care of these people. Do you think that we could use some of those funds? Because then it wouldn't even be out of taxpayer dollars, it would be out of illegal taxpayer money that was collected by the city, and maybe we could use those funds.
what's an illegal tax?
Just to clarify, last time when I said, we're obligated by law, not by U.S. immigration law, we're obligated to render aid to people that we encounter. So for instance, if a busload of people are dropped off, we're going to render aid to them, no matter what the aid is, medical, shelter, whatever the aid is. At this time, we do receive money from the Department of Treasury, which is associated with Border Patrol and U.S. Customs. There's not a provision in there to provide housing or to provide any amenities to asylum seekers. However, we do have money available at the station in a pinch if we needed to close somebody, if we needed to transport somebody.
Right.
We would be able to do that. We have a small amount of money that we could use, that we use for undercover narcotics buys,
Right.
things like that, on the local level, not on the
Right.
federal one.
And then you could also come back to the city and say you want to amend your budget because you ran out of that money, and let's say it occurs more than once or twice, and you need money, we could always just refill up your budget.
Well, I think what it is we'd only do that in an emergency situation. I mean, we wouldn't make a habit of it. There are credit cards available. You know, it would have to be a case-by-case basis. But initially, what we would do is whatever needs they had at that moment, we would provide them with needs: shelter, medical aid, housing, food. And when I say housing, it's just a matter of time until we work with the county and work with the city of Chicago when we can drop them off. If it's a matter of taking them to a warming center, for instance, the recreation center, put them in, you know, the orchard room, and then provide them with transportation through the arrangements we made with the bus company.
Should we take them to the hospital?
If we need to, we have to render aid, whatever, if they say they need to go to the hospital, we have to render aid to them.
Hey, Chief, they're asking if you could talk into that microphone.
Okay. The question was, would we take them to the hospital? Yes. We have to render aid to them if aid is required. As you know, the Fire Protection District is not part of the city. The Fire Protection District does bill for ambulance transports, but if they can't collect on the money, they don't collect on the money.
so the consensus is, and except the chief has the latitude.
I'll withdraw
Okay.
anything.
All right, anything else under old business then? Thanks a lot, chief, appreciate it. Any citizens wishing to address, nothing? Okay. New business?
Yeah, one statement,
Yeah.
just to let people know I won't be here on the next city council meeting of February 6th for the roads committee meeting on the 13th due to upcoming surgery on the 29th. Therefore, I'd ask Alderman Lewandowski, if I'm not present, would he chair roads and construction?
I don't know how I'd fill those shoes, but I sure will try.
And the only reason I'm asking is, I know Alderman Begley,
Do you have a green card?
Alderman Begley's curriculum with, she's got to do depositions or something that day. And I don't know about Alderman Bassel, so at least Leaves you.
The last man standing?
Good.
I always save the best for last.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Thank
Anything
you.
else?
All right, that's it.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Bye-bye.
All in favor?
Aye.
That would be Debs.
Debs.
Debs.